Hello everyone. In this lesson we will answer the question, what exactly is WordPress? The boring, soulless answer is that WordPress is a free tool that helps us create websites and blogs. Okay, but humans don't learn from boring, soulless answers, right? We learn from real-world examples. So in this lesson, I'm going to share my screen and visually show you what WordPress is. It's important to point out that in this lesson, I do not want you to worry about following along step by step on your computer. In our next lesson, you'll get your hands dirty and learn how to set up your own WordPress website that you are the owner of. Okay, but in this current lesson, I want you to take your hands off the keyboard, sit back, relax, and just watch. So right now we're looking at a completed example of a WordPress website. I think that oftentimes the best way to understand something is to begin by looking at a finished product and dissect it. And then once you have a general understanding of what your goal is and the basic moving pieces involved, at that point then it's easy to create your own brand new project from scratch. So here we see the home page of this example website, and up in the header we see links to different pages. So if I click on About Us, here's the About Us page. It's got a bit of text, an intro video, a photo, a bit of text. If I scroll back up to the navigation, we see there's a link named Photo Gallery. So if I click that, it takes me to another page. This page is dedicated to all of these different photographs. And if we click on one of these thumbnail versions, a larger full screen version appears, and then we can click these arrows down at the bottom to cycle through the photos, or we could click this X in the top right to close out of the full screen preview. Okay, so that's the photo gallery page. In the header navigation, we also see another link named Travel. So if I click that, this travel page is a collection of different stories or posts related to travel. So first we see Trip to the Midwest. If I scroll down further, we see Trip to the West Coast. And finally, Trip to the East Coast. And let's say a visitor of this website was interested in the Trip to the West Coast story. After they read this initial paragraph, they could click on this Continue Reading button, and that would take them to this new page with the full story. Back up in the header navigation, we also see we have a page named Recipes. So if I click on that, it's similar to the travel page, so now we have a collection of stories that are about recipes. So the first one is Greek salad, and we see another one, homemade French bread. And finally, easy spaghetti. And again, if we are interested in any of those, we can click on the Continue Reading button or the title itself. Back up in the header navigation, finally, we have a page named Contact Us. So let me click on that. On this page, we see the company's telephone number, their address. If I scroll down a bit, we see an interactive Google Maps widget. This allows you to show your visitors where your corporate office is or something along those lines. If I scroll down further, we see a contact form that visitors can fill out. So they enter their name, their email, a subject line. They can choose the service they are interested in, so the reason they're contacting you. And then obviously they can type out a message to you and click Send. So that's the Contact Us page. If I scroll back up to the top and click on the logo here, that takes me back to the home page. And that's the website in a nutshell. Now, so far we haven't seen anything specifically related to WordPress. All we've seen so far is a typical website just like any other. So the question becomes, where and how does WordPress fit into the equation? Well, let's imagine we are the owners of this website and we want to make a few changes to it. So for example, if I click back to the About Us page, let's imagine we are not happy with this opening paragraph of text. We want to change it. We want to make a few edits to it. Now, the first thing we need to do is prove to WordPress that we are the owners of the website, right? Because this isn't Wikipedia. We don't want just anyone from the general public who visits our website to be able to edit our website. So to prove to WordPress that we are indeed the owners of this website, we need to visit the login page. So let me switch over to a new tab in my web browser. This is the login page for my WordPress website. For now, don't worry about how to navigate to this screen. We will cover that in detail in our next lesson. For now, just know that I'm going to log in with my username and password, to prove to WordPress that this is my website. Once I sign in, WordPress will take me over to this administrator dashboard screen. Now, the general public will never, ever see this screen. This section is only for the eyes of the owner of the website. Okay, so this is where we edit and manage and build the website. Now let's get back to the task at hand. So remember, back on our website, we want to edit this text that lives on the About Us page. Now the key word there is page. We are interested in the About Us page. So over in the administrator dashboard, along the left-hand side of the screen, there's an item in this menu named Pages. So I'm going to click that. And then WordPress will show me a list of all of the pages on my website. There's no limit to how many pages you can have on a WordPress site. If we did want to create a new one, we could just click this button that says Add New. But in our case right now, we don't want to create a new page. We want to edit the existing About Us page. So here it is. It's the first page in the list. So I'll click that. And now from this screen, I can edit the page. If I wanted to change the title of the page, I could use this field. So I can type here, but we want to leave the title About Us. Remember, our goal was to edit this intro paragraph. So maybe after this first sentence, I want to add a new sentence that reads, "Our company has been around for over a decade." Maybe I even want this new sentence to be bold, so I can just use my cursor to highlight the text. And then within this menu, we see the traditional B icon for bold. Perfect. Okay, so at this point, I'm happy with my change. I want to save my change. So over on the right-hand corner of the screen, I want to click this blue Update button. All right, my changes were successfully saved. And now if we jump back to the public-facing website that anyone in the world can see, if I refresh this About Us page, there we see our new sentence. All right, let's give ourselves another example task. So for example, over on the travel page of my website, let's imagine that we are not happy with the intro paragraph for the trip to the West Coast story. So maybe we want to make an edit to this text. Now you might think that our first step is to head back over to the administrator dashboard of WordPress and click on Pages in the sidebar. But you'll notice that Trip to the West Coast is nowhere to be seen in this list of pages. And that's because the Trip to the West Coast story is not a page. It is a post. So what's the difference between a page and a post? Well, I will explain the difference in about 10 seconds from now. But first, I just want to say that you don't need to worry about memorizing the difference right now in this lesson, because this is a topic that we will revisit again and again throughout the course. But for now, I will say that a page is an independent entity. It's something that can stand on its own, right? So we saw an example of that in the About Us page, whereas a post is part of a collection of multiple posts. So in this instance, the West Coast trip story is a part of a collection of travel-related posts. And if we want to make changes to it, we can just look in the left-hand sidebar menu of the WordPress administrator dashboard and click on this menu item named Posts. All right, here we see a list of all of the posts on the website. Greek salad, homemade French bread, easy spaghetti, trip to the Midwest. Aha, trip to the West Coast. This is the one I want to edit, so I click it. Let's imagine I want to add a new sentence after this first sentence, so I just place my cursor here. The trip lasted 3 days and was wonderful. I'm happy with that change, so then I would click this blue Update button on the right-hand side of the screen. But before I do that, I want to point out a little something about this Categories menu. This Trip to the West Coast story shows up under Travel on my website because that's the category that we've assigned it. If instead we wanted this story to live under Recipes, we could just check that box. Okay, but obviously I want to leave it categorized under Travel, so let's change that. Scroll back up, click Update. All right, my changes were saved, and now if I switch back to the public-facing view of my website and refresh, remember I'm currently on the Travel page of my site. If we scroll back down to the West Coast story, here is the new sentence. Perfect. Now, believe it or not, over the last 10 minutes, you've just learned about 90% of WordPress. Pages and posts are the heart and soul of WordPress websites. It's really that simple. Now, before we bring this lesson to a close, here's a review of the key points that I want you to walk away with from this video. I have 4 main points. Number 1, we have the public-facing portion of the website that the entire world can see. Number 2, we have the administrator dashboard screens that only the owner of the website has access to, and that's where they manage the website from. Number 3, we have pages and we have posts. And our 4th and final point is one that I didn't verbalize until right now, but you may have picked up on it subconsciously. And that is that in WordPress, there's a separation between content and presentation. So what does that phrase mean, separating our content from our presentation? Well, let's define our terms. So content in this context refers to the titles of our pages and posts, and to the actual paragraphs of text, right? So content refers to our raw data. Presentation refers to the design of our website. So the colors, the spacing, the layout, the fonts, typography, the header, the footer. You get the point. Presentation refers to design or stylistic choices. Now in this lesson, we only saw examples of how to edit content. We did not learn how to edit presentation. Don't worry, you can definitely edit the presentation of WordPress websites. You are not locked into this design or theme. We'll learn how to change our presentation later on in the course, but I did want to mention that concept of separating content from presentation as early in the course as possible, because it's a big part of what makes WordPress so powerful and flexible. And it's an idea that we'll circle back to many times in the course. All right, that's going to do it for this lesson. In our next lesson, you'll learn how to create your very own new WordPress website. It will start out as a completely empty blank canvas, but you'll be the administrator of it. It'll be your blank canvas to work with. Also, I will be hitting the metaphorical reset button, and I'll start with a brand new empty WordPress website as well, so that way you and I can move forward together step by step. I'm excited to start rolling along and seeing what you'll create with WordPress. Let's keep things moving, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello, everyone. In this lesson, we will answer the question, how do I get my own WordPress? Right? So how do I get my own public-facing website, and how do I get my own administrator dashboard? Well, there are 2 main ways to get started with WordPress, and it all boils down to 2 websites, WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Now, they each have their own pros and cons, so let me go over those right now. Let's start with WordPress.com. The pros of WordPress.com is that it's very easy to get started. You simply visit WordPress.com and you sign up for an account. So it's really similar to signing up for a new email account with Google or Gmail, or it's like signing up for a new account at Facebook. It's super intuitive, super simple. Now they do offer different types of accounts or plans. So some of the plans cost a monthly fee, but they also have a free plan to get you started. And there's no time limit for the free plan. It will remain free forever. All right, changing gears, let's talk about the cons of WordPress.com. So number 1, you are not in complete control of your website. Your website lives on the WordPress.com servers, and this means you are really at their mercy. This means they limit which plugins you can use, they limit which themes you can use. Now I realize at this point in the course we haven't even covered what a plugin or theme is, but you can imagine that you don't want to be limited. That's never a good thing. So the general idea is that you can only customize the parts of your website that WordPress.com allows you to customize. Now, depending on your business or depending on what you want to achieve with your website, this might not bother you. If you just want to create a simple blog and be able to write and share your writing with the entire world, WordPress.com can be an amazing service. However, WordPress.com is clearly not for everyone because it is very restrictive or limiting. So now let's really change gears and talk about WordPress.org. Let's go over the pros and cons. We'll start with the pros. Number 1, this is the full WordPress experience. This is what people think of when they think of WordPress. With WordPress.org, you are in 100% complete control of your website. You are the owner of your website. You can customize anything you want. You can use any plugin, you can use any theme. Again, at this stage in the course, we don't really know what those words mean, plugin and theme, but you can imagine that the freedom to use whatever you want is a good thing. With WordPress.org, you're also free to monetize your website. That means you can run ads or sell products, so on and so forth. And the final pro, and this is not necessary, you don't ever need to learn how to code if you don't want to. But if in the future you decide you want to learn how to code, with WordPress.org, you're free to customize the code of every single aspect of your website. So in a nutshell, WordPress.org is amazing. It's personally what I use for my websites. Now, I haven't even gotten to the cons of WordPress.org yet, and I can already tell you that this is what we're going to use in the course. Now, you are free to use WordPress.com if you'd like to outside of this course, but for the purposes of learning as much as possible in this course, I encourage you to follow along with me and give WordPress.org a try. Now, let's talk about the cons. There's really only one con to WordPress.org, and that is that you need to find your own web hosting. What does that mean? What is web hosting? Well, remember when I said that with WordPress.com, your website lives on their servers, and this is what allows them to limit or restrict what you can do. With WordPress.org, your website will live on whatever web host company you choose, and there are hundreds of thousands of web host companies to choose from. A web host is just a company that leaves their computers or servers on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And your website lives on their servers, so that way your website is accessible to the world around the clock. Now, any web host worth using costs money. But don't worry, I want you to be able to work through this course without spending an extra penny, so I've partnered with a web host so you can get started for free. You won't even need to enter a credit card or any form of payment. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. But anyways, with web hosts, you typically pay a monthly or yearly amount, and in return, they host your website for you. Generally speaking, you get what you pay for, meaning the more expensive the web host, the faster your site will load for your visitors. Now, like I said, there are tons of web host companies to choose from, and it can be difficult to know where to begin. Which company should we use? Well, if we open up our web browser and go to the official WordPress.org website, we see that up in the header within this main navigation bar, towards the right-hand side, there's a link named Hosting. Over the years, the WordPress team has paid attention to which hosting companies treat their customers the best and make working with WordPress a breeze. Now, you don't have to use one of these companies, but these are among the best. So we see Bluehost, DreamHost, Flywheel, and SiteGround. Now, normally it costs money to sign up with one of these web hosts, but I've partnered with SiteGround for this course. And thanks to that partnership, you can get started with your own hosting and WordPress site without spending another penny. Now, I don't want you to feel like you have to use SiteGround. If you want to Google and do your own research and choose a hosting company on your own, more kudos to you. But as the teacher of this course, I want to provide a clear example path that anyone can follow. All right, so let's get started. As a student in this course, you are free to visit the following URL: learnwebcode.com/student-hosting. So learnwebcode.com is my website, and then the /student hosting will take us to the free SiteGround signup. So if I push enter to visit this URL, we see special deal for Learn Web Code students. Create your website now. So I'm going to click this sign up button. Just enter your email address and make up a password. Then just fill in a bit of basic contact info. So basically your name and your address. Scroll down a bit further. Within this box, 3 months is the only available option. And again, it's not like at the end of 3 months they can automatically bill you. They can't because we aren't even entering a credit card. So we see $0.00, and if we scroll down a bit further, make sure this box is checked. And the submit button reads Pay Now, but obviously our grand total is $0.00. So you're not actually paying. So go ahead and click the Pay Now button, and that should take you to this success screen. Now it may take 5 seconds or it may take 10 minutes, but very soon you should receive an email from SiteGround. In that email, look for a button or link that reads Log in to Customer Area. Or you can simply hover over this button in the top right that reads Log In, and you can enter your email and password right here. Or if you actually click right about here, that will take you to the dedicated login page. It doesn't matter how you log in. Okay, so go ahead and type in your email and your password and then click Sign In. That should take you to this page. For this first option of Set Up Your Website, let's choose the option of Start a New Website. And then from these available options, obviously we are interested in the first one, WordPress. So click that. Let me scroll down a bit. Within this section, we are going to create the administrator user for WordPress, right? So this will be the account that has access to the WordPress administrator dashboard screens. So enter your email address and a username. Here's a quick security tip. Instead of using a username of admin, choose something that's a bit more difficult for other people to guess. So maybe my secret admin or something along those lines. And then make up another password here. And before you click this confirm button, double check that you spelled your email address correctly. Okay, so when you're all set, click the confirm button, which will take us to this next screen. And from here, we just want to check this checkbox that says we agree to the terms of service, and then we can click on Complete Setup. Now, it might take 5 seconds or 5 minutes, but once this screen appears, then go ahead and click on Proceed to Customer Area. All right, now this is our SiteGround dashboard, but we are interested in our WordPress admin dashboard. So up towards the top here, click on My Accounts. And then right here, I see the website that I just set up about a minute ago. You will have a different URL right here, probably your first name and then the first letter of your last name. So go ahead and click on that. And this is your very own WordPress website. All right, so you could share this URL with anyone in the world and they would be able to see this website. All right, but if this is your website, you want to be able to log in as the administrator so you can edit and change and customize your website. Up in the address bar, at the end of your URL, add on a / and then wp-login.php. And again, this part of your URL will be different. So press enter, and then just add the WordPress admin username and password. Remember, this is the username where I told you to maybe use something like my secret admin or something along those lines. So go ahead and type in your username and password right now. Click Login. And if you're using the free SiteGround account, you'll see a screen that looks like this. You will not see this screen if you are using any other web hosting company. This is a quick start guide that the SiteGround company created to try and make the process of creating a WordPress website a bit easier. However, this quick start guide is not necessary. You're free to use it if you want to, but I recommend just scrolling down to the bottom and clicking on the exit link. If you do want to use this quick start guide and you click start now, nothing bad will happen, and the default choices are great. They won't hurt anything. I just think this step is unnecessary, so I recommend clicking exit. Okay, now again, if you're using SiteGround like I am, you'll see a screen that looks like this. If you're using any other web host, your WordPress admin dashboard will not look exactly like this. That's okay. In fact, if you are using SiteGround like I am, I actually encourage you to do the following. We can go ahead and click this Don't Show This Again message here, because we don't really need the SiteGround Quick Start Guide. It's not a part of the official WordPress software. This is basically just a message from our web hosting company, SiteGround, trying to make our lives easier. So I'd recommend clicking Don't Show This Again. And then finally, if you're using SiteGround, on our dashboard here, I recommend scrolling down to the very bottom, and down here we see this sentence that reads, "If you wish, you can always switch to the default dashboard." So basically what's going on here is that the SiteGround web hosting company is trying to give us a dashboard that makes our lives easier. The issue is that this is not the official WordPress dashboard. So for the sake of having everyone in this course be on the same page, I recommend to scroll down to the bottom here, and if you're using SiteGround, you can just click Switch to Default. You'll notice as soon as I do this, my admin dashboard looks a bit different. And that's okay. This is the official WordPress dashboard, and this is what I want you to get used to. Here I can see that the SiteGround optimizer is trying to show me a message. This is not important. I can go ahead and click this X towards the right-hand side to hide that message. Also, I see this note here about personal data and privacy. Towards the bottom right-hand corner of this little message, I can just click Dismiss. And congratulations. This is your admin dashboard area, and from here you can customize your website, which is what we'll be learning how to do in depth throughout this entire course. Now, I do want to point out that web hosting companies are not charities. The hard drive space and bandwidth we use, even on our experimental websites like this, cost hosting companies money. So let me talk a little about how this free SiteGround student account works. First, you'll notice that you did not get your own custom .com domain. So for now, the URL of your website is simply your name and then sgedu.site. Secondly, as we saw on the sign-up screen, this student account will only last for 3 months. Now, we won't get billed at the end of 3 months. Remember, we didn't even enter a credit card, but I do want you to be aware of that time limit. Now, 3 months is more than enough time to learn how to use WordPress and create a great website. And that's the entire point of this course, to learn the ins and outs of WordPress. If by the end of this course you're really happy with the website you create and you want it to be tied to a real custom yourname.com domain, and you want it to live forever instead of 3 months, that's going to cost a bit of money. And in the name of transparency, I do want to say that if you decide to sign up with SiteGround, it won't cost you anything extra, but they will send me a referral reward for letting you know about them. Again, don't feel like you need to use SiteGround. There are hundreds of thousands of web hosts out there for you to research, and the choice is yours. But really, choosing which web host you want to give your money to is outside the scope of this course. I'm just here to get you into your own WordPress sandbox or playground, so you can start experimenting and master the art of creating websites and blogs with WordPress. And if you have followed along with this lesson, you now have your own WordPress playground. I'm so excited to start building a site with you, and in our next lesson, we are off to the races. So let's keep rolling along, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello, everyone. In this lesson, you will actually begin building your website. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we see my WordPress website that I created in the last lesson. If you followed along, you also now have your own WordPress website. And what we're looking at right now is the public-facing portion of the site, right? So anyone in the world can see this. But if we want to begin building and customizing our website, we want to switch over to the back-end administrative dashboard screens. Now, you still might be logged in as the admin. If that's the case, obviously you don't need to log in again. So up in the address bar, at the end of your URL, add on a slash and then wp-admin. Now, if you're still logged in, that will take you to the admin screens. And if you're not logged in, WordPress is smart enough to redirect you to the login page. Now, once you've logged in and made it to this admin screen, the first thing I want to bring to your attention is this top bar that runs along the very top of the page. Towards the left-hand side of this bar, we see a home icon and then the name of your website. In my case, it's my blog, but your site might be named something different. Anyways, if you click that link, it will let you switch back and forth between the front-end public-facing portion of your website, and if I click on it again, it takes me back to the back-end administrative part of the website. Okay, so that's a very useful link to be aware of. Now with that out of the way, let's begin actually building our website. Let's start by creating a new blog post. So in this left-hand menu area, let's click on Posts. All right, this screen will show us a list of all the posts that currently exist on our website. Because my website is brand new, you can see that it says no posts found, right? We haven't created any posts yet. Depending on the web hosting company that you're using, they might have created a few sample or dummy posts for you. So if your screen doesn't look exactly like mine here, that's okay. But we are interested in creating a new post. So up at the top here, we see this Add New button. You can click that, or in the sidebar, you can click Add New, which is nested under the Posts part of the menu. So I will click Add New. And this first time that we visit this edit screen, WordPress will show us this pop-up help message. We can just click the X in the top right corner of this message to close it. Okay, now for our first bit of business, let's add a title for this post. Let's call it My Example Blog Post. Okay, and then let's switch down to this field and begin writing the content for the post. Hello everyone, this is my first blog post. It is just a quick example. You get the idea. You can type whatever you want here. And then when you're happy with what you have, over on the right-hand side of the screen, we see this blue Publish button. So let's click that. And in this newest version of WordPress, it's a bit annoying, but we need to click Publish a second time. If you're like me and you don't like having to click the button twice, you can look down towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and we can uncheck this box that reads, Always Show Pre-Published Checks. So I'm going to uncheck that, so in the future, I don't have to click Publish twice. So let's click the Publish button one more time here. Okay, and now we see this success message right here that says Post Published. And why don't we go test things out? Why don't we view the public front-facing portion of our website and look for that new blog post? So remember, we can click this link in our top bar. That will take us to the public-facing portion of the website. And if we scroll down, here we see the brand new blog post that we just wrote. Now, practice makes perfect, so why don't we practice creating another new blog post? So I will use this link to jump back to my admin area. And then under Posts in the sidebar, I will click Add New. Let's enter a title for this new post. How about another new test post? All right, and then for the actual content or the body of the post, hello world, this is a test post. You could write as much as you want to within this area. And maybe I want the phrase as much as you want to be bold, so I could just highlight that and then click this B for bold. All right, this looks good. So over on the right-hand side, I will click the blue Publish button. All right, and then I can use this link up in the header again to switch back to my public-facing website. And there it is. Notice how our newest post comes first, right? So this is the post we created a few minutes ago, and this is the one that we just now created. So on the front end of your website that the public sees, WordPress will always sort your posts by the date that they were created, and the most recently created posts are up at the top. All right, and if we click on the title for one of these posts, so if I click here or here, for example, I will click on another new test post, notice that that takes us to a new URL, right? That takes us to a new screen or a new page. And this new URL, this new screen, is dedicated to just that one single blog post. So if you wanted to share one of your posts with friends or family, or you wanted to post a link on Facebook or Twitter, and you wanted to link to a particular post and not just your website in general, you could share this particular link. All right, and to get back to our home page, we can just click the name of our website that lives in the header. So if I click on that, we are right back to the home page. Okay, so feel free to create as many posts as you like, as often as you like. If you want to delete or make changes to one of your existing posts, just visit your dashboard. In the left-hand menu, click on Posts. Here we see all of our existing posts. If you hover over one, you'll see an option to click Trash, which will delete the post. And if you want to edit or make changes to an existing post, just click on its title. That will take you back to the edit screen for that post. You're free to make changes here and then just save your changes by clicking the blue Update button. Now at this point, I want to take a moment to address a common concern you might have. At this point, you might be thinking to yourself, is this it? Is WordPress just for creating blogs? Is this the only type of website we can create? Right? So for example, maybe you do want a blog on your website, but you don't want the home page of your website to be the blog. Maybe you want a more traditional, static, welcoming home page, and you want a blog or a news area tucked away within its own neat page somewhere. Well, the good news is that WordPress can do that. WordPress is not limited to only creating blogs. WordPress can be used to create just about any website we can imagine. Okay, so at this point, we are at least a little bit familiar with what a post is. But if we want to unlock the full potential of WordPress, our next step is to learn about pages. And that is exactly what we are going to learn about in our next lesson. More importantly, we'll learn what the difference is between a post and a page. And we will also learn how to create a navigation menu that lives at the top of our website that links to our different pages, right? So maybe we want to have an About page and a Contact page or a Photo Gallery page. You get the idea. All right, so having said that, let's keep things rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello, everyone. In this lesson, we will begin learning about pages. In our previous lesson, we created a few posts, and in this lesson, we will create a few pages. Let's begin with the important question, what is the difference between a post and a page? Well, a page is exactly what it sounds like. It's a page on our website. For example, that could be an About Us page, or a Contact Us page, or a Photo Gallery page. A page is meant to be its own independent entity. It can stand alone. And you would typically have links to pages in a navigation area towards the top of your website. Also, a page usually is not time sensitive like a blog post might be. On the front-end public-facing portion of our website, we don't usually display the date that a page was created like we do with blog posts. So we might say that a page is an example of evergreen content. A page is timeless. And we can contrast all of this with a post, right? Because we know that a post is a part of a collection. A blog page shows multiple posts at once. And a post is time sensitive in that a blog page will be sorted with the newest posts on top. Now, if everything I just said didn't make any sense, that's okay. Because the best way to learn about pages versus posts is not to listen to an explanation, but to simply go and create a few pages in WordPress. So let's do that right now. All right, so here I am on the admin dashboard of my website, and let's create a few pages. In case you've forgotten how to navigate to this admin screen, remember that the URL to get here is simply the base or root part of your URL, so the part that I'm highlighting, and that will be slightly different for your website. But then after the root of your URL, just add on a slash and then WP admin. Okay, so once you log in, you'll be taken to an admin screen that looks similar to this. And our goal right now is to create a few new pages. So in this left-hand sidebar, a few links down from the top, here we see an option named Pages. And when I hover over it, notice this menu appears, and I'm interested in the Add New option. So on this screen, we are creating a brand new page. Let's begin by giving this page a title. So in this first field, let's call this new page About Us. You're free to use whatever title you want, but this is what I'm going to use. And then down in this main content field, for now, let's just add a bit of placeholder content. So this page will contain real About Us related content very soon. You get the idea. We can fill in this area with more content in the future, but for now, let's just go ahead and create this new page. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, let's use this blue Publish button. Okay, so we just successfully created a new page, but you'll notice that if we jump over to the public-facing portion of our website, so if we use this link towards the top left, the link with the home icon, if we click that, this is our home page. This is what the general public sees. You'll notice that there's no link to that new About Us page. Clearly, that's a problem, right? Because how can we expect the visitors of our website to ever find the About Us page if there isn't a prominently displayed link to it? Now, in about 60 seconds from now, I will show you how to create navigation links. So we will learn how to create links towards the top of our website right about here that link to different pages. But before we do that, why don't we go back into the admin area and create a second page so that way we have multiple pages to experiment with. So I can use this link to go back to my admin area. And let's create another page. So if I hover over Pages and click Add New, just a moment ago we created an About Us page. Why don't we now create a Contact Us page? And again, in the content area, I will just type, this page will contain real Contact Us related content very soon. Okay, so we will update this later, but for now, let's publish this page. Okay, and now we have two pages. We have About Us and Contact Us. And if we jump over to our public website, the question still remains, if we don't have links to those pages, how are the visitors of our website ever supposed to find them? Now the solution here is to add a navigation menu, maybe right about here, that includes links to our various pages. And luckily, WordPress makes it fairly simple to create a navigation menu. So check this out. Let's use this link to jump back to our admin area. And if we want to create a navigation menu, let me show you where you would look. In this left-hand sidebar, look for the item named Appearance. And then when you hover over Appearance, these extra options should appear. And we are interested in the Menus link. So go ahead and click on Menus. And now on this screen, since our website is brand new, it doesn't contain any menus at the moment. So our first step is to create a new menu. So in this field right here, you just click and then give the menu a name. It doesn't really matter what you name the menu. The visitors of your website usually will not see this menu name. Really, the name is just for your own organization purposes. So for example, I will name my menu Main Menu. But you could name it whatever you want. Then go ahead and click the blue Create Menu button. And now it's just a matter of adding different pages and links to our menu. So for example, right about here, we see a list of all of the pages that we've created so far. And if I want to add a link to the About Us page in our menu, I can just check this box next to About Us and then click this Add to Menu button. Okay, so this area is basically a preview of our menu. So currently the menu only contains this one link to About Us. And if we also wanted to add Contact Us, over in this area, obviously, we would just check the box for Contact Us. We could have checked it just a moment ago, so you can check multiple pages at once. You get the idea. But we just want to add Contact Us, and then click Add to Menu. Okay, so now our menu contains these two links. We will add more pages and links in the future, but for now, this looks good. And now, our final step is to choose where on the page this menu should be displayed. Basically, we need to decide, do we want this navigation menu to be up at the top of the page in our header? Or do we want it to be down at the bottom of the page in the footer? Or do we want it to be in the sidebar? So you'll notice that down here, we have an area named Display Location with 3 options to choose from. Later in the course, we will learn how to have more options here to choose from, but for now, the choice is pretty simple. I think it's best if our navigation menu is towards the top of the website near the header, so I will check this box that reads Primary. Okay, so now we're good to go. I'm going to click this blue Save Menu button. There's also a copy of that button up here. Click either one, Save Menu. And now let's jump over to our public website. And good news, right below the header, we see this navigation menu. So right now we're on the home page, but if I click on this About Us link, that takes me to the About Us page. Remember, here's that placeholder content. This page will contain real About Us related content very soon. Check out the URL bar, right? So it took us to /aboutus. And back in the navigation menu, if we click on Contact Us, obviously that takes us to the Contact Us page. Okay, and then you can always click on the name of your website, so this heading, to go back to your home page. And there you have it. So we have a mini website at this point, right? We have a home page, and we have a navigation bar where visitors can switch between our various pages. Now, practice makes perfect, so before we end this lesson, why don't we try to create another new page and then add it to our navigation menu. So let's use this link to go back to the admin area. To create a new page, I will hover over Pages and click Add New. You can create whatever new page you want and name it whatever you want, but I'm going to call this page Photo Gallery. And then down here, I will say Photo Gallery content will live on this page very soon. Looks good, so I will click this Publish button. Okay, so I just created a new page, and now the next step is to add it to the navigation menu. So remember, when you want to deal with menus, look in the sidebar for Appearance. Here it is. And then out of all of these appearance options, we want Menus. Okay, so here's what our menu currently contains, just these two links. And here is a list of all of our available pages. So obviously I want to add the photo gallery page, so I check the checkbox and then just click Add to Menu. And maybe I don't want the photo gallery link to be the last link in the menu. Maybe I want it to be second, so maybe I want it to come before Contact Us. Well, reordering the links is super easy. You can just click and drag. So you can drag it wherever you want. So I want it to be there. And then just click this blue Save Menu button again. And now if we switch back over to our public website, here we see the navigation, and more importantly, here we see our new photo gallery link. Perfect. And that's actually going to bring this lesson to a close. Now in future lessons, we will learn a lot more about pages so that we will be able to actually build out the real content for the About Us page and for the photo gallery page and for the Contact Us page. Okay, so don't worry, we won't have this placeholder content forever. But before we get to that and build out the real content, there's something even more important I want to cover first. I want to show you how to customize the overall appearance of your website. So for example, what if you wanted the margins of your website to be wider or narrower? Or what if you want to use different colors for the text and the links? Or what if you want to use a different background color instead of white? You get the idea. Now, when we talk about the visual appearance, the stylistic appearance of our WordPress website, what we are really talking about is the theme of our website. That's a word you are going to hear over and over again in the WordPress universe. Theme. And in our very next lesson, we will get our first taste of what a theme is. We will learn how to switch to a different theme, and we will also learn how to customize the appearance settings of the current theme that we have chosen. It's going to be a ton of fun. This is where you really get to customize your website. So let's keep things rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello, everyone. In this lesson, we will learn about themes. Let's begin with a question. So, what is a theme? A theme is what controls the design or appearance of your website. So a theme is what controls things like the fonts being used, the colors being used, and the page layout, right? So how many columns there are, things like that. So big picture, when we think of our website, let's think of two main concepts: content and presentation or appearance. Now the posts and pages we create, those control the actual content of the website, and the theme controls the appearance or the design. All right, that's enough talking. Now let's just jump right into the action so you can visually see with your own eyes an example of what a theme is. All right, so this is what my public website looks like right now. But check this out. If I navigate over to my admin dashboard area by using this link, and then if I look in the sidebar for the appearance option, I can either click directly on this main appearance item, or I can click on themes in this pop-out menu. Okay, so these are the 3 themes that WordPress comes with out of the box. And you can see that this one, 2019, says active, because that's the particular theme that my website is using. Now, depending on when you're watching this lesson, you might not have the exact same 3 themes here, because the people who create WordPress release a new theme every year. Long story short, you might not have the exact same 3 themes that I have here, but that's okay because the exact same concepts still apply. So back to the task at hand, if I want to change the way my website looks, I can stop using this theme by activating one of these 2 themes. So for example, I will hover over this 2017 theme, and then I will go ahead and click this Activate button. And now, if I go and check out my public-facing website, so if I click this link, we can see that my website looks completely different now. And it's because we switched to a new theme. We are using a new theme. And let's imagine that we don't really like this theme and we want to switch to yet another one. So I will just jump back to my admin dashboard, click on Appearance in the sidebar, and I'm going to try out the theme named 2016. So I will just click Activate, and then jump back to my public-facing website, and we can see that new theme in action. Now, I really like this theme. It's the one that I'm going to stick with, but before I go any further, I do want to let you know that you are not limited to the 3 themes that WordPress comes with out of the box. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go back to my admin area and click on Appearance, I want to stress that you are not limited to just the 3 themes that you see here. In reality, there are thousands of free themes you can choose from. So check this out. If we click this large Add New Theme area down here, or if we click Add New up here towards the top of the page, if we click on either of those links, we are taken to this new page with a ton of new themes to choose from. Now, if you immediately see one that you like, just hover over it and click the blue Install button. But if you scroll through this list of featured themes and you don't see one that you really like, that's okay, because remember, there's much more than just these featured ones. There are thousands to choose from. And what you can do is utilize this search menu up in the top right corner. So maybe you're looking for a theme that has a dark background or a light background, or maybe you want a blue themed site or a green site. You get the idea. Just search for whatever keywords you're interested in, whatever kind of theme you're looking for. Maybe if your business is a restaurant, you could even search for that. Or if you're a photographer, you could search for photo gallery or photographer. You get the idea. Now, before I jump back to the 2016 theme that I really like, I want to show you how easy it is to install and utilize a new theme that you find. So for example, I know that there's a theme named Button that I really like. So if I search for that, Button, it's the first result here. So once you find a theme you like, just hover over it and then click the blue Install button. Okay, and then once the installation completes, now you can click Activate. Or if you just click on Appearance back in your sidebar, that'll take you back to a screen where you can see only the themes that you actually have installed. And in my case, now we can see that Button is included here. So now I'm free to go ahead and click the Activate button. And if I switch back over to my public-facing website, here we can see that new Button theme in action. Okay, now obviously you are free to use any theme that you would like. But for the purposes of this course, why don't we stay on the same page? Why don't we go ahead and use the same theme? So I really like the 2016 theme, so I'm going to jump back to my admin area, click on Appearance, hover over this 2016 theme and click Activate. Now, if you're watching this video in 2018 or 2019 or even beyond that, and your WordPress didn't come with the 2016 theme out of the box, you can always just click on Add New and simply use this search bar to search for 2016. Okay, and there we see it. Now again, you are free to use any theme that you like. There are thousands to choose from, but every theme is a little bit different. And even though all themes use the same general concepts, when you're just starting out with WordPress, I think it will be easier for you to follow along with me using the same theme as me. And then once you've worked through the course and you're familiar with the concepts, it would be a piece of cake for you to go through this course a second time where you use a theme of your choice. So it's totally up to you. If you're feeling brave right now, you don't have to use 2016, but that is the theme that I'm going to use. So let's jump back to our public-facing website and let's get down to work. The first thing that I want to address is our navigation menu. Now, if you switched to a new theme and you still successfully see your navigation menu, that's great. But if you switched to a theme and your navigation menu disappeared, I don't want you to panic. So for example, if my navigation menu was not here, what would I do? How could I get it back? Let me show you. Let's go back into our admin dashboard, and in the sidebar under Appearance, click on Menus. And in this area of the page, below the preview of our menu, we see Display Location. Now, because the theme that I was using previously matches the same name as this new theme I'm using, this checkbox was smart enough to stay checked. Now, every theme has different display locations. For example, one theme might let you add the navigation menu to the sidebar, or down in the footer, or up in the header. So there's different options for each theme, and if your website no longer displays your navigation menu, you just need to come to this screen and probably choose the option that reads either primary menu, or top menu, or header menu, or something along those lines. Every theme is a bit different, but you get the general idea. So make sure one of them is checked and then click Save Menu. Okay, for our next bit of business, let's imagine that we don't really like this thick black border around all four edges of our website. Or maybe instead of the links turning blue when we hover over them, and these links in the sidebar being blue, maybe we want to use green or pink or any other color. Well, most themes, but not all themes, make it very easy to customize basic settings like that. So check it out. If we jump over to our admin dashboard area, and in the sidebar look for Appearance, and then look in the pop-out menu for Customize. Okay, from this new screen along this left-hand sidebar, we see all sorts of different settings that we can change. Now again, not every theme allows you to customize all of these settings. Some themes will only let you change maybe 2 or 3 of these types of things, and other themes might let you customize even more. But in my case, because I'm using the 2016 theme, I see an option named Colors. So if I go ahead and click on that, I see these different colors that I can change. So first we see something called background color, and if I click on that color patch, I can choose any color I want. You get the idea. Now personally, I don't want any background color or border. So for example, if most of my web page has a white background, I just want the very edges to be white as well. So I'm just going to click this white tile. Okay, and then if I click on this color tile again, that will collapse that menu. Okay, the next color is called page background color, and this is what controls the vast majority of the screen. So feel free to choose whatever you like. I'm going to stick with white. Let's click this to toggle that or to close it again. Okay, the next color is link color. So instead of blue, I'm going to choose maybe like a red or a pink. Okay, and you'll notice that that changes the colors of the links in the sidebar and the hover color. So when I hover over a title or if I hover over any of the links in the navigation menu, it uses that new color that I just chose. Okay, the next color, main text color, I think that goes without saying. That's what controls the main text. I'm going to leave that as black, just so that my text is easy to read for everyone. And then secondary text color. We can see that this 2016 theme uses that color for things like the date, the slogan of our website, so on and so forth. So I will just set that back to the default gray. I think that looks good. And at this point, I'm happy with my changes, so I will click this Save and Publish button up at the top. Okay, and then to get back to our main admin dashboard, we can just click this X in the top corner. And now, just to test things out, if I jump back to my public-facing website, we can see that those customizations are in place. Okay, for our next bit of business, why don't we work on customizing this header content? So maybe we want to use a different title instead of my blog for the website, or maybe we want to use a different slogan. Or maybe you have a logo for your company that you want to use here instead of a text-based title. So to begin working on those changes, you can go back to your admin from this link and then click on Appearance and Customize. Or here's a shortcut, you can just click Customize right here. Now again, every theme is different. The particular theme that I'm using makes it very easy to edit this content. I can just click on this blue circle icon next to my blog, and it automatically takes me to the field that controls that. So maybe I want to switch this to Learning WordPress. So if your theme doesn't have these blue edit circle icons, that's okay, because you can still change all of this content. You just have to know where to look for it. So for example, instead of clicking this blue circle icon next to the slogan that I want to change, if your theme didn't have that blue icon, I can tell you that the slogan is also referred to as the tagline. So when you first get into this main customize screen, you can look under the site identity option, and that's where the title and the slogan live. So you could change the slogan to our slogan here, or if you're like me, you could just leave it completely blank. Okay, so I think that already looks a lot better. But what if you want to use a company logo? So an image instead of text right here. Well, over in the sidebar, we see this logo area. So just click on the Select Logo button. Then click this Select Files button. Next, it's up to you to choose an image file from your computer's hard drive that you want to use. In my example, I want to use this logo file. Okay, then click this blue select button down here in the bottom right corner. WordPress gives me the option to crop the image, but I don't want to crop it, so I can just click Skip Cropping. And there we see it. Now maybe you just want to use your logo and you want to skip this title text entirely. If that's the case, you can use this Display Site Title and Tagline option and just uncheck it. Okay, so this looks good to me. Now I'm just going to click the blue Save and Publish button. If you want to go back to the full list of options that you can customize, use this left pointing arrow. I'm done with my customizations for now, so I can just click this X icon to go back to my website. And that's actually going to bring this lesson to a close. In our next lesson, we'll begin creating real content for our pages. To be more specific, if I look at my About Us page, we see that I'm still using this placeholder content. And in our next lesson, we will learn how to replace this with legitimate content. So we will learn how to add our own photographs, YouTube videos, and more. Let's keep our momentum rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello, everyone. This is just a quick note before we jump into the actual next lesson. So really quick, I just want to talk about the classic editor versus the default editor. Let me show you what in the world I'm talking about. So here's my website, and if I jump into the admin dashboard, and if I begin creating a brand new post, this screen that we see whenever we are creating a new page or post or editing an existing page or post, we refer to this screen as the editor or the edit screen. Now in December of 2018, WordPress did something very controversial. They completely redesigned the edit screen. Meaning, for the last decade, Up until December of 2018, this edit screen looked drastically different. Now, some people love this new editor, but some people really do not like it. And when I say some people, I don't just mean a few loud, angry people. I mean millions and millions of people do not like this new editor. Now, this is not surprising. The official WordPress team knew that a lot of people would not like this editor. They knew it would be a controversial decision. In fact, if I switch over to the official WordPress blog from the official WordPress website, they posted this blog about the new update to the new editor, and they have a section in the blog called Keep It Classic. And it says that if you prefer to keep the older or classic editor, they will keep supporting it through a plugin through 2021. So I'm assuming that means December 31st of 2021 or January 1st of 2022. Either way, that's several more years of people being able to use the older, original, or classic editor if they want to. Now, a bit later on in this video lesson, I'm going to show you how to enable the older classic editor. But before we do that, I want to show you the basics of the new or modern editor. Right, so this is the screen we've been using throughout the course so far. You can add a title here. And then down here we add our content, right? So you can say this is content. Now here's the interesting thing about the new editor. If I push enter or return to create a new paragraph and say hello again, it actually creates separate blocks. That's the term that WordPress is using for each piece of content now, a block. Now, aside from paragraphs, there are many different other types of blocks. So, for example, if I wanted to switch this from a paragraph to a larger headline, I can click into that block, and then while I'm hovering over it, if I use this icon, I can change the type of block. So I could change it to a heading. Okay, and then aside from pushing enter or return to create a new block, we can also use this icon towards the top left of the edit screen, this plus symbol. We can use this to create a new block. And then that will actually give us a menu of all of the different block types. So this would allow us to insert an image into the content of our post, or a bulleted list, or a large quote, or if you wanted to embed a YouTube video into your content, you can search here for the type of block you're interested in. So I could just say YouTube, and then it'll show me the result. I could click this, and then it's as simple as just pasting in the URL of the YouTube video you want to include, and then you would click embed, and then it would show up in your content. So that's the new or modern editor in a nutshell. Everything is a block, and there are different types of blocks. A block can be a paragraph, it can be a headline, it can be a photograph, it can be a YouTube video, and then you're free to drag and rearrange the blocks. You get the idea. Now, this new editor has only officially been a part of WordPress since December of 2018. And I've gone ahead and re-recorded or refilmed the first 5 or 6 lessons of the course to show the new editor. Now, eventually, it will make sense to re-record the entire course using the modern editor, but I don't think that time is now, because there are still millions of people that prefer the older or classic editor. And the official WordPress team themselves, in their official blog post, have noted that you can continue using the classic editor through the entire year of 2021. So as of right now, I can let you know that the remainder of this course is going to use the older or classic editor. Now, I don't want to come across as a traditionalist who is afraid of change or the future. This new modern editor that we see here is definitely the way forward. However, I do think that it's going to go through a bit of growing pains for the next 6 months to a year. It was just released by the WordPress team, and I think there's some big bugs and kinks that they need to work out of the system. So eventually down the road, this would be the editing experience that I wholeheartedly recommend, but I don't think we're there yet. But that's just my opinion. If you want to use this new modern editor, that's a-okay. I just want this issue to be on your radar. I want you to be aware of the fact that some people like the new editor, a lot of people don't. and it's up to you to choose which editing experience you want to use. So at this point, we've seen the new modern editor. Now I want to show you how to try out the older classic editor. So right now I want you to follow along with me. Within the left-hand menu of the admin screen, look for plugins. It should be about the 5th or 6th link down in the menu. So plugins, go ahead and click on that. Now don't worry, in a future lesson, I will explain what a plugin is. Right now though, I can let you know that you don't need to know what a plugin is in order to use the classic editing experience. So this screen shows us all of the plugins that we currently have. We want to add a new one. So we can either click Add New up here at the top, or we can click Add New in the sidebar that's nested under Plugins. So Add New Plugin. From this Add Plugin screen, I'm going to use this search bar towards the top right, and I want you to search for a plugin that is named Classic Editor. For me, it is the first result, Classic Editor. You can see that it's created by the official WordPress team, WordPress contributors. This means it is 100% legit, safe, and secure. This is not a plugin created by a random community member held up by duct tape and hacks. This is the official WordPress editor that has been a part of WordPress for years and years. And you can see that at the time I'm recording this, it has a perfect 5-star rating, and it is used on over 1 million different websites already. So go ahead and click the Install Now button for the Classic Editor. Give it a minute or two, and as soon as it installs, this button will now say Activate instead of Install Now. So go ahead and click the Activate button. Okay, and now let's go try to create a brand new blog post. So in the sidebar, Posts, Add New. And you can see that this editing screen looks a bit different. This is the classic editor. Up until December of 2018, this is the general way that the WordPress editing screen looked for the past decade plus. This is where you add your title, hello world, and this is where you add your content. And you can see that this resembles a word processing document. So you can type, here is a bit of content, and there's just one big large field. Everything does not get broken up into its own separate block. If you want to make something bold, you just highlight it. You can click the bold or italic icon. If you want to change something to a headline, you could just select this and then choose this instead of paragraph, make it a heading level 2. Now, I'm not going to show every feature of the classic editor right now because that's what we're going to learn throughout the remainder of this course. In future lessons, we will learn how to add a photograph into our content, how to embed a YouTube video, and much more. So I strongly encourage you to use this classic editor with me throughout the remainder of the course. But I don't want you to feel completely locked into the classic editor. I think it would be a good idea to use it throughout this course so that we are on the same page. And then once you are familiar with WordPress as a whole, you'll be in a much better position to make an educated decision. And then you can decide which editing experience you prefer. With that in mind, really quick, I want to show you how you would disable the classic editor and go back to the modern editor. So in the left-hand sidebar, look for plugins again. Click on plugins. This screen shows you all of the plugins you currently have. Look for classic editor and then just click the deactivate button right below its title. Once it's deactivated, your WordPress will use the new modern editor once again. So you can just activate and deactivate and switch back and forth however often you want. The decision is up to you, but just know that I am going to use the classic editor in the upcoming video lessons. I feel that it's easier to use and it's just more intuitive for the majority of people. And apparently it seems like millions of others agree with that sentiment. Hopefully down the road, maybe 6 months to a year from now, the modern editor gets a few improvements or changes made to it, and it becomes the unanimous optimum editing experience. I do know that the classic editor will be officially supported by WordPress at least until the very end of 2021. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole issue plays out. I think you're fine either way, whichever editing experience you choose. Let's keep rolling through these lessons. We are going to be using the classic editor, and I will see you in the next lesson.